Yes, thank you so much for everyone who's here. I believe we can begin the meeting. Welcome to today's kickoff meeting with our enterprises. Today we are going to be focusing on the progress of all that we've been doing in phase 1 and phase 2. Thank you for being here. All right, as we await for the AFDB team to join us, maybe we can start with a round of introductions for those who are here. I'll be your moderator, Elizabeth Kamau, today, and thank you for being here. Today, we are going to be addressing the performance-based grant funding for the SMEs. And we have a panel of speakers who are going to be joining us, among who we're waiting for to join us and be part of this presentation. But these are the key needs. The agenda for today's meeting. We are going to start with a round of introductions. We go through the program overview together with the innovation call, and we are going to take you through where we are so far in the implementation that we have been doing in the past few months. We are also going to address the mentorship and coaching and the peer-to-peer networking. And we'll also give you a brief on the innovator impact and the next steps. This is the key agenda of today's meeting. And thank you so much for being here with us. Anita, has the bank joined us yet?
Not yet, but I'm reaching out to them.
All right. Let's give them a maximum of 3 to 5 more minutes so that we can begin, as they are also key members in the speakers, and we need to hear their bit on today's meeting. Emanuela, maybe you can translate to the French speakers the table of contents on what is going to be taking place in today's meeting, and also encourage them, if you have any questions, can they put them in the chat box. My team is going to be responding to each and every question. So as we continue, you can put those questions in the chat box.
Ok. Bonjour à tous. Pour tous les francophones, je vais faire la traduction. J'espère que vous m'entendez très bien. Donc, pour aujourd'hui, ce que nous avons à l'ordre du jour, c'est premièrement, bienvenue et introduction, donc que nous sommes en train de faire en ce moment. Ensuite, nous aurons une vue d'ensemble du programme. Ensuite, nous ferons un innovation call, un appel à l'innovation. Donc, nous allons discuter de ce que, je suppose, de ce que ça veut dire, etc. On va aller en plus en détail dessus. Ensuite, nous allons passer sur les choses qui ont été faites jusqu'à présent, où est-ce que nous en sommes par rapport au programme. Ensuite, nous allons parler de l'implémentation du programme en question. Qu'est-ce qui se fait, je suppose. Ensuite, nous allons parler, nous aurons un aspect mentorship et coaching, donc qui va, qui va avoir lieu. Ensuite, il y aura un moment de networking, de prise de contact entre pairs. Ensuite, parler de l'impact, innovator impact, je suppose de l'impact de l'innovation ou de l'innovateur. Et parler aussi en dernier lieu des prochaines étapes qui vont être prises, des prochains steps qui vont être pris dans la suite de ce programme. Ils m'ont aussi fait savoir de vous dire que si vous avez des questions, vous pouvez les poser à l'intérieur du chat, à l'intérieur même de cette réunion, dans le chat, si vous posez vos questions et elles seront répondues au fur et à mesure que nous allons. Donc, voilà.
Thank you, Emanuela, for that. I have received feedback from the bank, and Edith is going to be joining us a little later, so we can begin. The key speakers for today's meeting are as follows. There's going to be Edith, who's going to communicate once she joins. We have Sarah Nderitu, who's a Senior Program Officer in Youth and Jobs and Entrepreneurship at GCA. We have our CEO, Mr. Prabhakar Vanam. We have Benson Jiro, who's the team leader, the technical and project coordinator. And then we have Mr. Evans Ombuki, who's our finance and admin manager, and myself. This is the key project implementation team, starting with the bank, with our representative, Ms. Idida Dera, who's the lead coordinator in the African Adaptation Acceleration Program, AAAP, and regional principal officer. We have Mr. Adeneye Fadekunayo, who's a consultant at AAAP. We have Ms. Sarah Nderitu, who's a senior program officer, Youth, Jobs and Entrepreneurship at GCA. And Mr. Prabhakar Vanan, the CEO of KCIC Consulting. Benson Jiro, who's a team lead. Elizabeth Okunda, who's the lead project communication officer. And we have Miss Fabienne Varela, who is the project support assistant at Concrete. We have Mr. Paul Kishuki, who's the private sector development manager at KCIC Consulting. Mr. Evans Ombuki, the finance manager. Myself once again, and Ms. Anita Njoki, who is the project support and client relations here at KCL. I'll give it back to Emanuela to introduce the team and the speakers, and then we can go to the next part.
OK, thank you. Donc, je reviens en français pour parler des principaux intervenants pour la réunion d'aujourd'hui. Donc, nous aurons Madame Adera Edith, qui est la lead coordonnatrice en Afrique pour le triple AP. Nous avons Serra Nderitu, qui est l'agent senior du programme Youth and Job Entrepreneurship. Nous avons Monsieur Prabhakar Vanam, désolé, qui est le CEO, l'exécutif de KCIC. Nous avons Monsieur Benson Jiro, qui est le leader de l'équipe technique du projet. Nous avons Monsieur Evans Ombuki, qui est responsable de la finance et de l'administration. Nous avons Madame Lisbeth Kamau, qui est responsable du développement et de la communication à KCIC. Donc, ça, c'est les principaux intervenants d'aujourd'hui. Nous avons ensuite les principaux membres du projet, de l'implémentation du projet, qui sont Madame Adera Edith, encore de Triple AP. Nous avons Monsieur Adeniyi Fadekunayo, qui est le consultant de Triple AP. Nous avons Madame Sarah Nderitu, qui est toujours là, qui est la responsable senior du programme. au niveau du Global Center Adaptation. Nous avons encore Monsieur Prabhakar Vanam qui est de KCIC, qui est le CEO. Nous avons Monsieur Benson Dirou qui est le leader de l'équipe technique du projet et Madame Elisabeth Okunda qui est aussi lead dans ce qui est communication pour le projet. Donc, toujours dans l'équipe d'implémentation du projet, nous avons Fabienne Varela Silva Andrade, qui est de Concret, qui assiste dans le projet. Nous avons Monsieur Paul Gichouki, qui est un manager en développement pour KCIC. Nous avons Monsieur Evans Ombuki, qui est responsable financier, Madame Lisbeth Kamau, responsable de développement communication, et nous avons Madame Annika Njouki dans l'équipe qui s'occupe de tout ce qui est accompagnement du projet et des clients et des relations. Voilà, c'est tout.
Thank you for that, Emanuela. And these are the finalists for the cohort 3. We have Ms. Beth Koigi, who's the CEO and founder of Magic Water KE, who's going to be present with us. Ms. Eda Wanjiru, CEO and founder of Arenifu Tech. Ms. Lucy Wangari, the CEO and founder of Onion Dr. Kenya. Ms. Stephanie Miltul, CEO and founder, Eden Farms Nigeria. We have Ms. Deborah Zarubara, the founder and CEO Grencom ETS in DRC. We have Ms. Daniela Ushindi, the CEO and founder of Chemchem Agro in DRC, and Ms. Fatoumata Diaby, the CEO and founder of June Agro Innovators in Mali, and Ms. Miriam Chapi, the CEO and founder of Chapico in Malawi. Today we are going to have keynote speeches from the funders, and we are going to hear the expectations from the bank and GCA. And given that we've gotten an apology from AFDB that they'll be joining a bit later, we are going to start with keynote speech from GCA. So I'll take this moment to welcome Ms. Sarah Deritu to take us through this part. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you, Lisbeth. Good afternoon, good morning, everybody. My name is Sarah Nderitu from the Global Center on Adaptation. But before I speak, I would want to acknowledge the presence of my boss, Ms. Sarah Mideabe, who's a global team lead for the Youth Jobs and Entrepreneurship team at the GCA. Ramide, would you want to say a few words before I begin? Okay, he says I go ahead. So thank you so much, Lisbeth. And this afternoon, I'm just going to be speaking about some of our program impact and outcome expectations from the funded project. So maybe because I haven't interacted with any of you since you began, maybe I could say congratulations once again for winning the YouthADAPT 2023. I'm sure you know that now you're part of the third cohort of the YouthADAPT, and we are very, very excited to see some of the impact and the outcomes you'll achieve. And of course, you'll be building on successes of the previous two cohorts, which I hope actually you've had a chance to interact with during some of the alumni meetings. Our interpreter, let me know how fast I should move and whether I should let you do the translation.
If your keynote is not very long, you can just say what you need to say and then I will translate everything.
Great. Thank you, Manuela. So I was tasked with outlining just some of our expectations, some of the impacts and the outcomes that are expected from the funded project. And I will only mention a few of them just because KCIC has developed a very comprehensive monitoring and evaluation framework. And I'm sure some of the business mentors and trainers that you'll be working with, so I'm speaking to the entrepreneurs, will take you through some of the metrics that this program will be looking at. So as you know, one of our very big primary goal of the Africa Youth Adaptation Solutions Challenge, which is the YouthADAPT, is to boost sustainable job creation. And this is, of course, through the support of enterprises like you in climate adaptation and resilience across Africa. So, of course, looking at the very big goal, we will be expecting you to create sustainable jobs, both for youth and women. Looking at the GAP report, I would really want to commend you, because it looks like we are not starting from zero, because some of you have already started creating jobs. I think there is no one who is starting actually from zero jobs. So I would want to commend all our enterprises for that. And we will be looking at both direct and indirect jobs. So a lot of the jobs I've seen in the gap analysis report are the direct jobs that are within your enterprises, but we will be looking at also some of the indirect jobs that you'll be able to create along the value chain. The previous two cohorts have been able to create more than 9,000 jobs, and about 80% of them are held or it's women and youth who are holding these jobs. And we hope to see these numbers grow. So we hope that you'll be able to create a lot more jobs than what you currently have. I've seen some of the ambitions that you have. So job creation will be one of our big impact or outcome that we'll be expecting from our funded projects. The other big objective is, of course, this is an adaptation program. We'll be looking at building community adaptation and adaptation capacity and resilience. We know that resilience is long-term, but we'll be looking at how you're building community adaptation and resilience. And this is for the community that you're working with, and also the customers who are using your products. We haven't done a very good job at tracking this data from our current cohort, but we are starting to develop some of the tools to collect this data. But to go a step ahead of building adaptation at the community level and also of your customers, is also looking at how your enterprise is integrating climate adaptation and sustainability practices in your business operations to manage climate risks. And why is this? We've seen what is happening in East Africa. For example, how would your business survive a flood, that is currently being experienced in East Africa? We are seeing that supply chain disruptions is now a real threat. And I was just looking at some of the enterprises in the gap analysis, and I was just looking at, for example, Fatumata's report, June Agro Innovate, how her compost business would be able to survive when there are floods. I was home this weekend, and my mom's compost pit is full of water, and all the compost has been washed downstream. So we would be keen to really look at how your businesses are integrating, is able to build climate risk. Looking, for example, at Chapik, Kotek, and Arinifu, how are your customers being affected when there's too much rain? We know that poultry diseases is a real impact, and this will also impact the demand, from your customers. So those are just the two big ones, of course, climate adaptation and resilience, and also job creation. But also looking at the gap analysis, our colleagues at KCIC will be able to develop tailored capacity development program, a training program to also address some of your business needs. And I was just looking at some of the recurrent features is the need for technology upgrade, absence of business models and expansion strategies, lack of sales and marketing strategies, finance operations and human resource and standard operating procedures. And the training module that you'll be undertaking will be able to cover some of the gaps. And some of the outcomes we'll be looking at, for example, after you've undergone the training, will be increase in profit margins and revenue. The first cohort was able to record 123% increase in revenue, increase in production capacity, especially after your technology upgrade, because that is a real gap for this cohort. Increase in revenue, of course, I've mentioned that even for complex businesses, business models like Magic Water, expansion to new markets. We've seen an expansion of 20% into new markets in the first cohort. And we're also seeing a number of the the 2022 cohort are starting to expand to new markets. And interestingly is that they are supporting each other across cohorts. For example, one of our enterprises in Malawi called Mpata Engineering will be expanding to Zambia, and they are being supported by somebody from, cohort one. So we'll be looking at some, how you're expanding to new markets. And I hope you can be able to also leverage on the previous cohorts to be able to expand. Unlocking new financing will also be I've seen a hand up. Okay. Unlocking new financing will also be a big one that we'll be looking at. The past two cohorts have been able to attract a total of over $7 million combined. However, a lot of this is grant funding, and we hope that we can be able to double this. If I was very ambitious when I was looking at those numbers, I hope we can be able to reach 20 million by the time, as a combined of all our cohorts, by the time you're completing the acceleration process. We've seen, when I was looking at the gap analysis report, I've seen a very good, very impressive numbers. A number of you have been able to already secure external financing, and also a number of you are in discussion with potential mentors. I've also seen that there are a few of you who haven't started the whole fundraising process. Don't feel like you're left behind, because this is why you're part of this program, and this program will be able to prepare you to start unlocking additional financing for your business. As I've mentioned, a lot of the funding from the first two cohorts is grant funding, but we are trying to encourage a lot of the 2022 cohorts to start unlocking private sector financing. There is a big appetite for debt. So we hope that some of the financing that you will be looking at is also private sector funding. I've seen a number of you are in discussions with investors, and some of you are thinking of convertible debt, and also convertible debt notes, and also I've seen a number of you also mentioning debt in some of your fundraising efforts. So congratulations on that. So we look forward to seeing some of the private sector financing that you'll be able to unlock. I think those are just some of the few outcomes. I don't want to call them impact, but some of the few outcomes that we will be really tracking. But your business mentors will be able to provide more information once the acceleration starts. So we wish you the very best as you start the process. And looking at some of the business data is that we are at a very good place. We are not starting from zero. And of course, this program will be able to enable you to reach your goal. Please make very, very good use of the partners, KCL, GC, and AFDB. Especially on communications. I cannot leave before mentioning this. We are very big on publicizing what our YouthADAPT winners and enterprises are doing across all our platforms, and we've seen great results from the former two cohorts. They've been able to unlock global partnerships, extra funding, just by being featured on AFDB or GCA web pages. So please do not be shy. Do not shy about shouting about some of the achievements that you're making. And we will help you make as much noise as possible on your behalf, because there are always partners who are watching to see what is happening in this space, because adaptation is quite a nascent sector. So kindly make as much noise, and we'll help you in communication. So thank you so much, and back to Anita, back to Elizabeth, our moderator.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for that detailed keynote speech. Emanuela, I'm going to give this back to you to translate to our friend speakers. I hope you can summarize that in the shortest time possible. And don't forget to keep sending your questions in your chat for the rest of us. Thank you. Carry on, Emanuela.
Okay, thank you, Lisbeth. I'll try to be as short as possible. So, okay. Donc, pour les francophones, ce que Madame Serra expliquait, c'était d'abord qu'elle vous félicitait aux finalistes parce qu'elle n'a pas eu l'occasion de vous remercier, enfin de vous féliciter pour votre réussite d'avoir été sélectionné pour le programme en tant que finaliste. Et donc, elle sait que vous avez sûrement reçu et les métriques sont très partagées à votre niveau. Et donc, vous avez probablement une vue sur ce qui est attendu au niveau des chiffres de vous. Mais elle voulait vraiment revenir sur ce qui est attendu dans d'autres aspects au-delà des chiffres pour chaque candidat qui est finaliste. Donc, premièrement, elle a parlé du fait que votre projet ou entreprise doit être un projet qui va créer de l'emploi. Donc, des emplois qui sont qui sont sustainable, je ne sais plus c'est quoi le mot, mais des emplois qui favorisent l'emploi des jeunes et l'emploi des femmes. Donc, elle a dit qu'elle avait déjà vu que beaucoup de vos projets, de vos entreprises ont déjà généré du revenu et ça, c'est une très bonne chose. D'ailleurs, ils voient des chiffres et tout. La deuxième chose dont qu'elle a mentionné, c'était qu'il faut que votre projet ait une capacité d'adaptation dans votre communauté, non seulement, mais aussi chez vos clients. Donc, que ce soit l'adaptation au climat, la gestion des risques. Elle a mentionné par exemple Fatoumata et son projet et comment elle compte faire pour que son projet puisse résister par exemple au problème des inondations, qui est un sujet qui l'intéressait beaucoup et elle a l'intention de suivre et de voir la progression des choses. Elle a mentionné aussi le fait que cette accélération avec KCIC va vraiment vous aider à couvrir les manquements et augmenter vos capacités et à débuter aussi votre expansion au niveau du marché. Donc, c'est ça le but en fait de cette accélération. Elle a vraiment aussi insisté sur le fait que sur l'entraide. Donc, le fait que si vous avez besoin ou si vous ressentez le besoin de communiquer avec d'autres membres de votre cohorte ou même des anciennes cohortes pour pouvoir collaborer et travailler ensemble, c'est quelque chose qui s'encourage vivement. Ensuite, elle a parlé des capacités de financement, que c'est déjà bien parce que ça se passe déjà, mais ce serait encore bien que chaque bénéficiaire de la cohorte puisse avoir une certaine capacité à lever des fonds, trouver des mentors, ce qui est très bien, ce qu'elle encourage. Elle espère aussi que vous continuez à recevoir des financements et à lever des fonds, à recevoir surtout des financements privés. Pour finir, elle a juste souhaité que vous ayez le meilleur et que elle a dit que vous présentez déjà de très bons résultats, ça semble très prometteur et donc vous encouragez dans la même lancée. Elle a demandé à ce que vous n'hésitez pas à vous adresser aux partenaires, donc AAP, KCIC, AFTB, etc., que vous puissiez partager avec eux vos soucis, vos inquiétudes pour qu'ils puissent vous aider à avancer parce que c'est ça l'objectif de cette prochaine étape, je suppose. Donc en gros, ouais, that's it.
We seem to have lost Emanuela, or am I the only one who cannot hear her?
No, she's done. She's
I'm
finished.
done.
All right, thank you so much, Emanuela, for that. Next, I'm going to invite my CEO, Mr. Vanam, to take us through the overview of the coaching and mentorship phase. The floor is yours, Vanam.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth, and thank you so much, Emanuela, for that. First of all, congratulations to each one of you for being part of this fantastic cohort of opportunity. I think Sarah did mention she was very modest in her speech in which she mentioned as to what kind of networking opportunities you will get and all. But as KCIC Consulting, let me also be very specific and say that, we've been part of this YouthADAPT program, cohort 1, and now we are managing the cohort 3. And I can tell you for sure that the way this program is different compared to the other incubation accelerator program is that you get wholehearted support from two funders, that's AFDB as well as GCA. And the very nature of these two organizations is that you would get opportunities at every corner. You would get opportunities where you can showcase your product, where you can showcase your services. You can also showcase your opportunities. You can explore different opportunities, not just at the national level, but also at the regional level, but more importantly, at the international level as well. So that's the kind of platform this particular program offers you. Before I even come to coaching and mentorship, just wanted to give you a couple of insights based on the experiences of cohort 1, as well as learnings from cohort 2 as well. There have been quite a few success stories that came out of cohort 1, and these success stories, I'm talking about how they could scale up in terms of their business operations, how their turnovers quadrupled from when they joined the cohort, how they have gone beyond the existing country of operations to do more exports to different countries, how they could go ahead and make presentations at a very many international levels, showcasing their products and services. So there are quite a few success stories where the program provided some kind of technical as well as financial assistance, which kind of unlocked the enterprises to kind of grow and become more sustainable enterprise. So that kind of success stories should motivate you guys to also emulate, to also become similar as to what cohort 1, cohort 2 success stories showed us. So that's the kind of opportunity that you all have in terms of scaling up. Secondly, this program, compared to others, also provides you technical as well as financial assistance. And generally, many programs provides grant financing, but this program kind of addresses the real missing middle in that sense, and provides quite a substantial, actually, grant financing of $100,000. And along with that, has put in a big team to provide the technical assistance, mentorship, incubation, acceleration, capacity building, you name it, the program will be able to provide it. Then another aspect which I really wanted to highlight is although this is cohort 3 under YouthADAPT, but you would be a pioneers in a way, because the first time this particular program has focused on fourth industrial revolution kind of technologies. So we are trying to address climate adaptation solutions using IT, IoT, blockchains, and various other solutions, which kind of has this multiplying effect. If done well, if successfully implemented, scale up becomes slightly easier compared to other services, other solutions. So in that sense, you guys are pioneers. And again, congratulations for being that. In terms of our own expectations, I'm sure Sarah did mention some of the expectations, but as a program implementing unit, as a enterprise support organization supporting you, handholding you, providing technical assistance, what we would expect from each one of you is there is a requirement where we would be asking you some progress reports. Of course, we'll be working with you together, but we would expect those progress reports to come in at a periodic interval. That's very important to have it so that we know how the companies are progressing, what are the challenges, what are the risks, what could be the mitigation strategies, and what better interventions could be better designed so that the enterprises are able to get the support. Secondly, Sarah did mention about this. Please use the publicity platforms of both AFDB as well as GCA, and when they do the story writing on any one of you, I think you would be getting global attention. So any good news, please share with us so that we can kind of publicize that. We can put an article, we can put a video, we can put a photo, we can put a tweet, we can put a LinkedIn post, or whatever that is needed. So kindly share with us, and that will help you to unlock more value for your own firm. It will also help you to unlock more partnerships in terms of getting more demand, as well as linking to more supply chains kind of a thing as well. So kindly use that. Thirdly, remember, this is a grant disbursement program. I think the needs assessment report and the grant agreements have all been signed. So that one, kindly make sure that, whatever timelines have been mentioned, of course, there could be some flexibility in terms of how we move ahead, and there could be some things that we couldn't achieve in time. But it's important that, we keep communicating and let the project implementation team know that there could be some delays, but the grant disbursement schedule is very important. Once you achieve a particular deliverable is when the release of funds would happen. So it's always important to keep an eye on in terms of what kind of deliverables have been agreed upon in the grant disbursements. And before we release the next tranche, we would also be very keen on getting the proof of payments. All events will be able to further explain that, but I think documentation of your grant disbursement, how you utilize the funding, I think is very critical. Then we would be having regular meetings, not just with us. Sometimes AFDB as well as GCA would also be convening some meetings. Kindly ensure you attend those meetings regularly. There are two important purposes that achieves in those meetings. One is A, to get to know the progresses, the risks, challenges, and what else you would expect from the program to deliver. So that is one. Secondly, any important updates in terms of any international events that are happening, any national events that are happening, specifically that are being organized by GCA as well as AFDB. That is the platform where we would be communicating that so that you would be knowing those things as well. And lastly, this program is also unique in the sense that, you know, you are able to get mentorship support, and that mentorship support would be one-to-one. It's not that, you know, all of you would be in one class where a mentor is explaining you ABC, but it is more of implementation support where based on the needs that have been identified, we would be the mentor would be hand-holding you individually as a firm so that you can address those challenges systematically and move forward. So those would be my high level take. But just to come on to this specific slide as to how the coaching and mentorship phase would look like. We have already, in a way, when we did the needs assessment, we have done the baseline assessment where we have understood your financials, your operations, your commercial, as well as your legal, as well as your technology business plans. Then based on that, we administered this tool to all of you where we address the requirements of each one of you from the climate perspective, climate adaptation perspective, as well as from the enterprise perspective. And that has basically given us three broad challenges of each one of you. One is the customer related challenges, one is the financial related challenges, and lastly, the ecosystem related challenges. So all these three particular pillars would be addressed using three broad interventions. One is the coaching, where we would be focusing a lot on trainings, capacity buildings, some standard courses are there, some specific tailor-made courses would be delivered. Then I did mention about the mentorship aspect as well. That would be intervention 2, where we would be doing face-to-face, one-to-one, virtual, as well as physical mentorship sessions with each one of you. And then lastly, there would be advisory services as well, where we would be providing some tailored and bespoke recommendations individual based on your individual needs. Elizabeth, if you can go to the next slide, please. Or Anita, yeah. In terms of what could be the areas of interventions, there could be 6 broad interventions. One would be the, there would be somewhere we would be supporting you on the innovative approaches. That would be one. Secondly, there would be some climate adaptation innovation to boost your job creation. So how your business plan could be better updated to ensure that, you know, the climate adaptation, climate risk proofing is done to ensure that, you know, the jobs that we are creating are sustainable jobs in that sense. Thirdly, I did mention about capacity building. There would be collaborations with institutions. All of you have a fantastic prototypes in terms of your IT solutions. So we will explore opportunities, again, depending on the needs of your own enterprises. We will be exploring opportunities. If you need to have some collaborations with institutions where you can go and test your prototype so that we can learn from that testing, and if needed, we further improve upon our prototype and on our concept so that our services our product becomes much more robust and is be able to pick up the demand very easily. Then the fourth area of intervention would be on the inclusive growth for investment and economic opportunities for youth. And this is where we talk about how do we bring in this ecosystem of youthful countries that we are working with, and how we can engage more youth and women organizations to ensure that, you know, we are able to drive this climate adaptation agenda but ensuring that it is also inclusive in that sense. Then last two more solutions that we would be kind of helping you would be on the expanding partnerships, knowledge sharing, exchange and learning. And this is where we would also be depending on a lot on GCA as well as AFTP, where we would be exploring what kind of networking sessions we could be part of, what kind of learning sessions we could be part of, what kind of exchanges program that can happen between, say, for example, Europe and Africa, Asia and Africa, US and Africa, that kind of exchange offers. How we can learn from different enterprises, different innovations that have been on a similar scale, that have been implemented elsewhere, instead of reinventing the wheel, it's about learning from there. And lastly, the customized business development services, the dedicated mentors who are there for you, as well as the project implementation team would be there to help you, to provide you the business advisory services and then handhold you as you scale up to newer heights. That's all from my end. Back to you, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much, Vanam, for that. Emanuela, I am taking you back to this slide. Kindly translate this to our French speakers, this slide and the next one. The floor is yours, Emanuela.
Ok, thank you. Donc, pour les francophones, ce que M. Vanam expliquait, c'était d'abord, premièrement, qu'il encourageait la cohorte 3, qu'il considère comme une cohorte spéciale et unique à sa façon. Et donc, il a dit que grâce aux partenaires qui sont très présents au niveau du programme, très involved dans le programme, très inclus dans le programme, il donne l'occasion de mettre en valeur le potentiel de chacun. Et donc, il a parlé du fait que les anciennes cohortes ont pu développer leur marché, leur influence, leurs revenus, et cela les a aidés à être plus durables, et que c'est la même chose qu'il souhaitait pour vous. Donc, il a expliqué que ce programme a été mis en place pour apporter absolument tout ce dont, en tant qu'entrepreneur, vous aurez besoin pour évoluer et faire de vous des piliers en matière de technologie. Et il dit que c'est justement la particularité de ce programme, c'est que on parle de technologie de 4e génération, et donc c'est ce qui fait que cette cohorte est encore plus spéciale. Donc, il a parlé du fait que vous devriez faire des rapports de progression régulièrement, et que pour eux, c'est très important de pouvoir suivre votre progression. Et donc, c'est très important pour eux que vous puissiez vraiment vous prêter au jeu et pouvoir faire ces rapports-là en temps et en heure due. Donc, il a aussi parlé des plateformes de publicité. Au cas où vous aurez besoin de visibilité, pour vous aider à la booster, les partenaires sont prêts à partager vos nouvelles, articles, etc., publications sur leur réseau pour pouvoir vous donner plus de visibilité. Il a parlé aussi de la communication. Il a parlé du fait que le financement est déployé quand vous atteignez des objectifs ou que vous délivrez des livrables. Et donc, c'est important pour eux que vous communiquez sur ça, que vous communiquez sur vos milestones, ce que vous faites, ce qui a réussi, ce qui n'a pas marché, ce qui a marché. Il y a aussi le fait que des réunions régulières sont tenues, et donc, ils vous encouragent à participer à ces réunions autant que vous pouvez vraiment, et que vous puissiez, parce que c'est l'occasion où vous allez pouvoir partager vos updates et circonstances du moment. Il y a des choses qui sont très circonstancielles, par exemple l'état du pays, etc., etc. Et donc, ça les permet de savoir où est-ce que vous en êtes et comment vous avancez. Il a parlé du fait que ce programme-là a designé un programme de mentorship très, très précis. C'est un accompagnement individuel qui sera basé sur les besoins de chacun. Et donc, quand on va sur ce slide, justement, on voit que en fonction de vos finances, de vos opérations commerciales, légales, du genre de technologie que vous utilisez, KCIC a designé carrément un programme basé sur justement les défis, les challenges auxquels entrepreneurs vous faites face. Donc, il y a différents types de challenges. Il y a le challenge lié aux clients, il y a le challenge lié aux finances, et il y a le challenge lié à l'écosystème. Je ne vais pas trop rentrer dans les détails vu que le temps me manque, mais j'espère que vous pourrez aller plus en profondeur avec l'équipe au fur et à mesure que vous faites le programme d'accélération. Donc, dans ce slide, vous voyez l'intervention de l'équipe, sur les choses sur lesquelles ils vont plus se concentrer. Et donc, l'une des premières choses qui a déjà été mentionnée, c'est qu'ils vont vraiment mettre un focus sur la création d'emplois. Il faut vraiment que les emplois soient créés pendant cet accompagnement. Il faut aussi que, vu qu'on parle de technologie de 4e génération, que vous puissiez, avec les prototypes que vous avez déjà mis en place, que vous avez déjà créés, ils veulent voir comment vous aider à rendre cette technologie, ces outils plus performants, vous aider à grandir, à améliorer vos prototypes, etc. Ils parlent aussi du fait d'étendre des collaborations. Donc, leur but, c'est aussi de vous aider à obtenir des partenariats, des collaborations qui puissent vous aider aussi à grandir, surtout entre pairs, entre entrepreneurs, pairs, vous aider vraiment à vous développer dans ce sens-là. Mais aussi, ils veulent vous aider à développer votre business dans le sens où leurs mentors vont vraiment être très concentrés sur le fait que de vous aider à de vous développer en tant qu'entreprise, en tant que business. Donc, en gros, c'est ça, entre autres. I'm done, Lisbeth. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emanuela, for that. Going forward, I'm going to invite my colleague, Benson, to take us through the next bunch of slides. Benson, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you so much, everybody, for making the time today. Acknowledging, of course, the funders, GCA. Thank you so much, Sarah, for highlighting the expectations, especially as we go forward into the implementation. And then thank you, Venam, for also taking the time to really just take us back to the experiences, the lessons learned, from cohort 1, cohort 2, which are essential for these cohorts to really look at, the success stories and also what they could benefit from. I think, as Sarah has alluded, I think this is the first time we are having all the finalists, cohort 3 finalists, on a single platform. And I think it will only be fair if we apportion just 30 seconds to each one of you. I think, Lisbeth, if you could just go quickly back to the slides with the finalist profiles. In that order, if we could start and just give each one of you 30 seconds to say hello, give us your name and from which country you're joining the call from, because today is really actually your day. So really quickly, before we proceed, Lisbeth, just take us back to the slides for the finalist SMEs. Thank you. All right.
Sorry, excuse me. Can I translate for the French speaking so that they will understand that they have to present?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Ok, donc pour les francophones, Monsieur Benson vous demande de vous présenter, dire votre nom, votre pays, parce que justement c'est votre jour aujourd'hui et il souhaiterait vraiment que vous puissiez avoir l'occasion, ne serait-ce que de vous présenter et de dire ce que vous faites. Voilà. Donc on va procéder par ordre selon ce qui est projeté, la présentation. Thank you.
All right, voila. Okay, let's start with Beth in that order. Your 30 seconds opportunity to just tell us who you are, where you're coming from, and then we proceed. Beth.
Thank you, Benson. So my name is Beth Koigi, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Magic Water, and I'm from Kenya. And it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Beth. Eda.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eda Wanjiru, CEO and founder of Arini Food Technologies, and I'm based in Nairobi, Kenya, and I'm grateful to be here for this discussion.
Thank you, Eda. Lucy.
Lucy may be having some network issues, so let's continue to Stephanie.
All right. Okay, Stephanie.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Stephanie Meltus, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Green Eden Farms here in Nigeria. It's always a pleasure to chat with everyone. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you.
Bonjour,
Right,
moi c'est Madame Deborah. Je suis en RDC, je suis la directrice de Grécom en RDC.
Thank you. Danielle? Madame Daniela?
Daniela is not in our meeting today, so let's proceed to Ms. Fatumata.
Okay, we can't quite hear you very clearly, but we can see you. So thank you for that. Then we move to Miriam. If Miriam is here, say hello. Okay. I will assume Miriam is not in the call, so we can proceed. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I think as Elizabeth has mentioned, please, we will have a Q&A section along this call. And so please, if you have any questions, please feel free to go onto the chat and file in your questions. And then we have a session for Q&A towards the end of the call.
Hello, good afternoon.
Where you? Hello.
Hello, sorry. I lost a bit of connectivity. My name is Mungana Malikana. I'm the partner for Miriam. She had just stepped aside. She wasn't able to make it for this meeting. So I logged in to represent our enterprise.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mugatana. You said Mugatana? Please say your names again. Sorry.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I was saying that my name is Imungana Malikana. I'm the partner within KCIC Consulting. Miriam wasn't able to make it for today's meeting. She had a family commitment, so I'm the one who's representing our enterprise. I wasn't able to introduce myself that time because of some internet connectivity that had a challenge, but the enterprise is represented.
Thank you, Marikana, and it's nice to have you on this call.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving forward. So as I was saying, please feel free to file your questions. We will have a Q&A section. So don't feel like, you have a burning question and then no one is going to address it. We will address your questions. Please pay attention to the various sections of this these slides, especially on the grant utilization section, the M&D and reporting requirements. Just pay attention, file in your questions, and then we will have an opportunity for you to really just listen through or respond to your questions and then the parties that are represented here today. Okay. So what is YouthADAPT Challenge? I'm sure you're all familiar with, especially as youth. Hello.
Excuse me for a minute, Benson. I've noticed that Ms. Edith Adera has joined the meeting, and I would like to give her this chance to introduce herself and give us her keynote speech from the bank. Ms. Edith, welcome to this kickoff meeting. Thank you so much for making time to be here. Edith, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. And I must apologize for coming in late. I guess as many of you are aware, I think the internet connection is a bit of a problem. So I've had to struggle to join. I've actually joined on my phone. So I hope you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, Edith.
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you very much. Once again, apologies for coming in late and interrupting the presentation that's ongoing. But I must say that I'm very, very pleased to join you in this kickoff meeting. Let me start off by congratulating all the winners for being part of cohort 3. It's not a mean feat at all. You were, I think, among over 1,000 applications, if I'm not wrong. So you've done exceptionally well to be in the top 8. So congratulations for that. On behalf of the bank and on my own behalf, I'd like to congratulate you. I'd like to welcome you to this session. And I'd like to share a few thoughts. While they mentioned that it's a keynote, I'll keep it very short. I like going straight into the issues. We've been handling the YouthADAPT program and supporting it alongside our partners, the Africa Adaptation, as part of the Africa Adaptation Acceleration Program, together with the Global Center on Adaptation. And this particular cohort is funded by the Africa Climate Change Fund. So on behalf of all the partners, I'd really like to welcome you to this session. And I'd like to share a couple of thoughts, having supported the YouthADAPT program over the last 3 years, is that one of the things that I tell people when I talk about YouthADAPT is that if you want return on your investment and you want it quickly, in about 2 years or less, fund young entrepreneurs. For me, that I have seen it bringing in dividends and bringing in change. I term it as the triple dividends. In funding YouthADAPT, I see a triple dividends. One is that it generates income for the entrepreneurs who are working in their respective fields. 2, it brings in a bit of growth because the idea of this grant, and that's one of the messages that I want to leave with you in my first point in looking at the triple dividends, that while it generates income for the enterprises and allows the enterprises to go to their next level of growth, let's ensure that the grant does not create dependency, but that we see it as a catalytic fund that would help you transform your companies and your enterprises and would allow you to move to the next level of growth. And that you will take your place in the place of entrepreneurs to bring about change. And that we are hoping that this grant